He said, I hope everybody is getting their fiber.
Awesome.
Okay, we're on.
I
And
think that.
Christian, City Real? How do I pronounce that?
Dude, I think I have a wasp nest in my house.
Inside your house?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Bobby would lose his mind. He checks the shed every day with a can of spray paint. Like he can't do wasps. He just neither of us can. But what you don't know
This is
where it is? Is it in your attic?
I don't know. This is the second or third one I found in my bedroom, and I can't figure out how they're getting there.
That's like an invasion of privacy right there. I'm sorry, I wouldn't be able to sleep. You gotta
I'm
check
a
your
little.
vents.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start looking around, dude, because that's not good.
Well, don't they also like kind of scout out buildings and everything and look for a place to nest? Because
Absolutely, but like that's three in my bedroom. So how are they getting into my bedroom? Like that's not that's
yeah,
that's weird, and I don't like everything. I'm pretty sure is well sealed. So I don't know. It's kind of freaking me out a little.
I would be freaked out too. I mean, Bobby checks everywhere,
I
and
don't want to like
if
sleep
he
at night and get
sees
stung. Like
what's that?
like wake up getting stung by a bunch of wasps. That'd be fucking crazy.
No, yeah. In fact, um, I remember getting like goose pimples when I was reading The Shining.
Yeah.
There's a part where he brings in an empty wasp nest, and in the middle of the night, like wasps just magically appear all over in the kid's bedroom and start stinging everybody. I was just like, oh no. It was a tough part to read. I just
That's
but yeah.
awesome. Yeah. I've read a few of his books where like there's parts that like have really creeped me out where I actually had to put the book down and be like, okay, I'll come back to you later because this is like desperation is one of them. That's a that's a creepy one. Um,
Desperation?
yeah, it's called Desperation. It's really good.
I don't know if Bobby has that one.
It's good. That one and what's it called? Duma Key. That one really kind of creeped me out.
I haven't read that one.
But
I'm
the
trying to see
Gunslinger
on his
series.
shelf if he's got those, but he's
Did
got
he read the Gunslingers? They're called Dark Tower.
yes. We didn't read all of it though. We just
Oh,
read like maybe book 1 and 2, part of 2.
oh, you should finish that. It gets
It gets weirder. It's weird because it's almost like that demon guy that he's chasing and him. Like I kind of left off at a part where the kid fell down into this cavern, and I
yeah,
guess he died or something, and now the guy is
yeah.
like caught up to the demon. So I
That
need to
guy in the book he's named Randall Flagg. Sometimes
yes.
he'll be called John Farson. He's a character in like a lot of his books. He's he's like the bad guy in his universe. And then he starts like bringing his other stories into this story. Not only that, other stories like Wizard of Oz, Harry Potter, like all kinds of
What?
other. Yeah, and they go into the real world. Like they meet him. You know how he got hit by a car and he almost died?
Yeah.
His characters in his book save him from that car and push him just so he just gets clipped and breaks his leg and doesn't
What?
die. Yeah, because he dies, but they're like, if he dies, we can't. They realize they're in a story, and they know if he dies, they can't finish their story.
Wow. No way. That's quite the writing outside the box. I mean,
Oh, dude, it gets so good. Like, oh, it's probably his best work ever. I think.
well, I do notice that sometimes Stephen King, like especially, I don't know, he'll reuse the same character names in different novels, and Like you're with I can't even remember what names now, but I remember watching a Stephen King short story, and the guy said his name, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's the name of a cop in one of his other stories. So he likes to do that, but that concept, that's kind of cool.
And he sets his stories a lot of times in the same place or
Yeah,
near that, like always around Maine, Castle
Maine.
Rock. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
he
yeah,
has get I think what likes to do is like he likes to write and describe places if he's been there, so it makes it feel more real. You know,
you know,
like
there's some books he doesn't even remember reading. He was so coked out. He said
what?
he would like, yeah, like I've read our interviews with him where he's like his nose was bleeding on the page because he was doing so much blow, and he just like he doesn't remember writing the books at all.
Oh
He has
my
no,
god!
yeah.
It's almost
He's a weird
amazing that he
leftist
even
though, eh?
like was able to continue on a plot without it being so erratic.
Yeah.
Editors were probably like, "What are you doing?"
He, you know, he's like a weird anti-Trump leftist.
Yeah,
Yeah, it kind of bummed me out.
you know, I think I'm kind of bummed out with everybody,
Yeah.
both sides. I don't mean that enough. I kind of over it, you know, like where I'm at now, everybody's still very like he's the answer, and it's a little cringy, but you know, at the same time, I know that the Appalachian area, you know, these states were very supportive of him, very
Well,
supportive.
it seems to be like with the Christian people, at least, like there's leftists who just hate him and think he's gonna, I don't know, destroy the world or be Hitler because
Yeah,
the mainstream media told him to. But I've seen two groups of Christian people who have two very different views of him. There's one
yeah,
group that think he's the savior and he's coming to like
yes.
put God's plan into action or some shit. And then there's another group that think he's the straight up antichrist
He's the
and he's
Antichrist.
yeah, and it's like and then that shot to the head that he survives is not like that's part of a prophecy that the antichrist will get a head wound and survive.
Really?
And yeah, dude, look it up right now. Revelations. Antichrist takes a head wound.
Okay, I will. But I also, well, since we're bringing that up, I want to ask two things. Okay, I'm just gonna ask because I know what I think, but I just curious, like what everybody in the chat wants to say too. One, like the first thing, there were a few people I texted when I found out. First of all, I didn't even find out that somebody had taken a shot at him until like 12, 13 hours after it happened because I don't stay with the news that much. The first thing that a lot of my friends responded, including my husband, was that it felt staged, or could it be staged? That was the big thing. Was it staged? And if it was staged, is he staging it to, or somebody staging it to give the image of following Revelation, so therefore he is the Antichrist? I don't know. Then the other thing is this whole involvement with the shooter and the BlackRock Corporation and BlackRock's corporation with the Illuminati. Am I allowed to say that?
Well, you just did.
That's right. I just did. So if nobody hears from me after this afternoon, then I guess somebody hauled me away. But I just wanted to throw that out there. But in the meantime, I will look it up. Revelation, Antichrist takes a head wound. Is that a good way to search it?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll pop up instantly.
Okay, I'll share my screen. I'm not able to see the comments anymore once I share screen. So
I'll look at them.
saying stuff. We'll get to you in a minute here.
There's a lot of people saying, well, not a lot, but there's some people saying stuff.
Yeah, I got to see Godzilla's here, Flat Earth Sage. Fiber Oats has re-identified himself as City Real.
I never understand any of his names. Like, I never really knew what
Dude.
fiber oats meant, and I don't know what sidereal means either, but awesome.
Okay, so Revelations, I'm going to put comma, Antichrist.
Oh, hey, Shulamite's here. Awesome. Hello, Shulamite.
Teresa?
Yeah.
Oh, Teresa's here. I miss you.
It's been a while.
I'm just gonna put head wound, Antichrist head wound or something. How's that? I don't know how to like.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, Revelation head wound, Antichrist, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's
now,
Revelation 13:3.
13:3. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, it's pretty like. I don't think that's it, but maybe they are, like you say, trying to like create prophecy or fulfill it on their own.
Yeah, it's almost a little too. Well, first of all, like everything about it, here's what I saw when I finally saw the video. Now there's a whole bunch of videos out there talking about why was a guy crawling on the roof of this building, and people were videotaping it and pointing it out for like minutes.
That's what I hear. That like people are like pointing to the cops, telling them they're there. The director of security, I can't remember her name. She just said like yesterday or today, we knew that area, but we didn't want to put any officers there because the roof was sloped and it could be dangerous. And I'm like, what? That's the stupidest thing I've ever fucking heard.
And I don't believe in coincidences, but coincidentally, the one thing they decided not to cover happened to be the route he took. I don't know. And then here's another weird thing. Like, I don't know how much you know about Secret Service. I'm not an expert, but I always had the impression that the very moment their subject is in danger, like it is evacuation time. It is get him the F out of that location and get him in a car, speed off for miles and miles. I mean, like, get him out of there. Yeah. Because what if there's a second shooter? What if they're going to blow up the place after? What if he has a failsafe?
Yeah.
You're watching this video and they're just kind of standing around him. I get they make this human shield, but he's like, didn't he say something like, I need my shoes? And they're all just standing there.
They let him pop his head up and like,
yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute.
And then they let him do it when he gets to the vehicle again. I mean, it's suspect. It is suspect. If you look at the JFK assassination, there's tons of things the Secret Service didn't do then that would really cause his death. Another interesting thing I noticed was all the presidents that have been assassinated, pretty much, I think, or attempted to. I think they were. I could be wrong here, and I might be speaking out of turn, but I think they're all Republican, which is kind of weird. Like Lincoln, he's a Republican. What's his name? JFK was a Democrat, I think. So no, that blows my theory.
I think Reagan was supposed to be Democrat too.
I think Reagan was a Republican. I'm pretty sure he's Republican. Wasn't Theodore Roosevelt? Wasn't he a? Like, I don't know. I get him confused. I'm probably just talking out my ass. So
no. I mean, it sounds like a lot of the same stuff my husband points out too, and the books he's read and the things. I mean, first of all, the JFK thing was just a hot freaking mess that had it. If you had to picture it as an animal, it just had tentacles that went out all over. From CIA to foreign countries to mob. I mean, just he pissed off everybody. I mean, Teresa said something interesting. She said he had a rangefinder. He was seen using like an hour and a half before the actual shooting.
Yeah, and then apparently the Secret Service lost track of him. Like, what the fuck? It seems like, yeah, it seems
Yeah.
like a setup. Now, I'm pretty convinced that it's a setup. The only thing I'm not sure of is it a setup as in they really were trying to get rid of him? Or is it a setup as in it's like a big staged play and they're trying to elicit a response from people?
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, I don't know.
I did see a couple videos. One was your friend Jay Dyer. I'm joking about your friend, but
Yeah, he's all right, but he's not.
Yeah, he did have some interesting inputs, as well as once you start watching one video, there's an algorithm that pops up of all these other videos. So we were watching all these different videos about different takes, and one guy had said something like, "What if this was the push to try to get more people to kind of sway the votes into Trump's side?" And he even mentioned that, the only other thing is if they were trying to attempt to get rid of Trump and now they could not, now they're going to get rid of Biden, because even the left doesn't want Biden running for president again, and just so many outlooks. And
it doesn't make sense. Do you think that the elections are FAIR? And if they are, then okay, I guess maybe they're trying to get a push for him. But I'm not convinced that they are exactly. So what would be the point? Like, they already kind of predetermined who's gonna get that position anyway. So
yes,
it like none of it makes sense. There seems to be like factions and factions. I don't know. I'm so confused, dude. Like, and the same thing that you guys are getting with Biden, we're getting with fucking Castro here, Castro Jr.
Oh, really?
Where, yeah, like everyone hates him. His whole party's is like falling apart. They're infighting. He's trying to like fire people. They don't want him to run anymore. The whole country, even like there's like this place in Toronto called St. John's, and it's like a liberal. That whole area is like a liberal stronghold. No matter what, it always votes liberal. There was a by-election, and they voted conservative. Like the whole country's like they're predicting a super majority for this guy Poilievre who's running against him, who says all the right things, and he's going to axe the carbon tax, and he's going to do this, and he's going to do that, and no one who's part of the WEF can be part of his cabinet, and blah blah blah. We'll see if he's really, like, I'm pretty disillusioned with politics, to be honest. So we'll see if he really comes through, but I'm not holding my breath.
I've always said that we don't have elections. It's a selection. I mean, they've already chosen who it is. The people they give the illusion that people are making a choice by voting. But that's just my opinion. Somebody said something that's, I'm laughing inside. Like, I'm cracking up. I'm dying. Because I pictured this. Okay, Flat Earth Sage said, pumpkin down. Pumpkin down! Pumpkin down! Everybody, get it! I don't know.
Two things. I want to respond to Gordzilla. He says two things. Their primary motivator is simply hate. I think he's right about that. And when he said St. John in Toronto, I think it's like a suburb of St. John, Gordzilla. Like, that's what I'm pretty sure. It's not like St. John's. Yeah, it's not St. John's, Newfoundland, but like a little, suburb or area or municipality, I think, in that area. You have to look it up.
Shilamite said theater. They're already saying Iran was behind it. The psyops are always pathways for war. Somebody had said something like they want motivator. The motivator is war. So this is one thing I was talking about with Bobby this morning. Is he was saying, like, I just don't understand. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, he kept saying, we were both kind of like, what are they trying to do here? What are they really, what's the end game, right? Because we never know. But then again, we talked about like how everything is controlled by something, right? We'll call, I don't want to call it deep state or any of those words. It's just they have been in control of everything for centuries, I believe. And now, like, especially in our elections, and then all the chaos that, like, you guys had that stuff with Trudeau and the truckers and just all this stuff happening, just seems like it's not a mistake that they're making, that we are all seeing these things, like the way the elections were blatantly just fucked up. It's almost like they're trying to show us, like, we're in control and you guys can't do a damn thing about it. And it's aggravating to people, but in a way, it's a way of showing people how useless and weak our attempts really are at making, you know, all these people trying to expose what's going on. They are exposing what they want to expose. Am I going out into left field too far here? Like,
no, I think I know who they are now, but
right.
Let's just call them Khazarians.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think, like, someone told me, or I've read, that they kind of let you know what's going on because it's like a karmic thing. And if they don't let us know and we agree to it, then they get a karmic reaction. But if we do know and we agree to it, even like not really knowing we're agreeing to it, then they're free of the karma, or at least that's what they think. I don't know. Maybe they're just shoving our noses in shit and just telling us how lame we are. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm really confused. The more I learn, the less I really know.
I think Fiber said it right. It's called Duper's Delight, and they laugh at us, because that's the same thing Bobby says. He said they are enjoying this. They are laughing at us. We are the sheep. And I don't mean to call everybody stupid, but when you see people make videos out there and they're just like woke, crazy, saying crazy shit because they're buying into all this, it just kind of makes you feel like, well, that's the reason. It's people like that just like, they believe everything that's happening, you know, and it just, one thing I do want to ask, I don't know, I just want to ask this, like, if it was staged, and I'm not trying to play devil's advocate, but if it was staged, is this 20-year-old kid really such a good shooter that he missed Trump? I mean, he, you know.
And what a miss. Like, if he doesn't move his head a fraction of an inch at that split second, his head splattered all over like that.
He would have hit him.
Someone said that it didn't even hit him, that he just slapped him, like, you notice he grabbed
his hand up real fast.
Yeah, and there's a blood pack in his ear or in his hand, and he slaps it, and like, hey. I don't know. I honestly don't know what to believe. I really don't. The one thing I do know is I don't believe what I'm being told. Like, it feels wrong to me. I can kind of sense there's bullshit afoot, but I don't know what it is exactly. Like, I really don't. And I don't, anyone who claims they do, I think they're just
trying to put themselves out there as something they're not. No, I agree. I don't want to kick the dead horse. I just wanted to throw those things out there because it's now that I've seen it on YouTube, and, you know, now it's all I see, and I'm over it. And
yeah. Did you see that guy who prophesized that Trump was going to get hit? Like 4 months ago? Yeah, I'll see if I can link. I can't remember his name, but he's like some Christian guy who prophesized that like 4 months ago he was going to get shot, was going to hit him. It was almost like he almost got it, not like 100% exactly what happened.
Really?
Yeah, and he's predicting a big economic crash for the next big thing that's going to happen. I guess right before the election.
Godzilla said he also heard about that, but also heard it was fake.
It's exactly. You never know anymore. Everything's a fucking lie.
Yeah.
Everything's a lie you see on the internet. Like, you believe half of what you or none of what you read and half of what you see, because
Right.
it's like the whole world's an illusion now. It's so
You
so
can't
weird.
believe, like, I used to think that if there's a way to get it on video, like a taped confession, or a video of somebody saying something, it's really them saying it. But lately, like, for
But
example, you
have you
can't.
seen those AI deepfakes?
I was just gonna say that the AI can take just a picture of my face and make me singing a song that I'm not really singing, the face movements. Even that video you sent me, it was a clip of one of Hitler's speeches that
Yeah.
had been translated into English, but it was like his voice.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like, you can't even trust videos anymore. There's no video proof now. There's
No,
no
nothing.
verbal confession, recorded confession. I mean, if somebody can do that with an AI, what's the point of getting a verbal confession recorded, like people that wear wire for law enforcement? I mean, there's nothing
That's a good point. I never thought of that.
You
That's a good point.
Yeah, you can't even. People used to tell me, like, "Oh, be careful what you say on the phone. They can record you saying yes," but they can make me. They have my voice recorded everywhere now. So I mean,
And they have your image. All the cameras everywhere.
And if you've ever been to a hospital, they have your blood. They have everything.
Yeah, probably.
Everything.
I never gave my DNA to any of those 23andMe's or anything.
Yeah.
I thought that was creepy to give it up. Like, and then I think you have to sign a waiver that says like they own it after. They own that DNA. I'm pretty positive, yeah.
Oh no. But then again, like, I went to a hospital to have my son. I went to the hospital when I had pneumonia. I mean, they take those blood tests to do labs every time I go to the VA. They have my blood. I mean, if somebody really wanted it, they have it.
Super Soda Jerk says he saw the prophecy. Godzilla says, test all things, hold fast to which is true. Yeah.
The AI thing scares me. They could take your picture and make it look like you committed a crime. For real.
Yeah.
That's my point. Like, or they can take your picture and make you sit there and confess to everything. It's crazy. Ever since I saw that video that you sent me of Hitler's speech, I was just
How do we even know that dude who shot at him is even a person? Like, now I'm just thinking of that. Like, the whole social media could be created. His whole persona could be created. Like, we have no. I don't believe. I don't know, man. Like, I really don't know what to believe. Everything.
Have they
everything
interviewed any of his family or friends? I haven't seen any videos of that.
I haven't really been like deep into it because I just can't stand mainstream media anymore. I get little bits and pieces of it, enough to kind of know what's happening, but I don't I never go down those rabbit holes anymore. I never get invested in it and start digging. Oh, I'm gonna find the truth. I'm gonna know it. You never know. It's all it is just a rabbit hole to keep you busy.
Yeah, that's
and maybe that's what they're doing. Purposely keeping us busy, just so we never really know what's going on. We're always searching for the bullshit truth that doesn't exist.
Well, another YouTuber even pointed out it's keeping us busy and keeping us looking at each other and fighting each other or looking the wrong direction, which is an interesting concept. Like, maybe that's why they do it. Like, let's give them, it's like they're throwing us little nuggets to chew on so that they can go do something else over here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it whenever there's a suspected shooter, they all look basically the same? Loner nerds. That's a very
Yeah.
good point.
And they always have a name like you notice that, or normally like, especially with serial killers, they'll have like 3 names, and like
Yes,
the middle names like, and the last name are like a first name.
like Harvey, Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Did you type
Didn't they
Speakeasy
say
News?
something about that in that one movie where he was like this psycho cab driver? Oh, what's that movie?
Taxi? Is that the movie you're thinking?
No, he was like a total conspiracy theorist.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about, right? Somebody, tell us what the movie is.
isn't it called Conspiracy Theorist?
Was it? I didn't think so. Was it? Now I gotta look it up. Unless somebody.
Did you see that Speakeasy News is typing? Is that you?
Yeah, that's I made a comment back to Super Soda Jerk.
Oh yeah, okay. It would seem to me I remember.
Excuse me.
Oh, that's a good line from Gord Downey. Yeah, man. Tragically Hip are so awesome.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Conspiracy theory is it 1997. Trailer, Spooky Family, The Patriot. Okay. Yeah, you're right. It was called Conspiracy Theory. All right, well.
Oh.
That was easy.
The whole brewery where I work is listening to this stream. Oh, damn. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Well, okay. We
No
need
pressure
some
there.
beers to the breweries, it's not like they're sitting there drinking all the product, but hard work. Guys, that's awesome.
Better listen up to Super
Didn't
Soda.
even have a hair on his huevos. What are you talking about, Super Soda Jerk?
I know he does look like he looks like he's 17 or something. Like he looks so young.
And all the pictures they show, he's got the braces, so he's like, better listen up. Yeah.
More Than You Know, Clutch Vaccination Star, for example, is about. I think he's talking about the hip. It like if you don't like the hip and you're Canadian, you might get kicked out of the country. Especially for like
about Rush.
They're way bigger than Rush. Like way more.
I know, but
way more Canadian. Like I don't know how to say that. Like Rush they're big and they're famous, but they're not. Like Canada doesn't embrace them the way. No, they don't embrace them the way they embrace the hip. Especially if you're in your teens to early 20s in the 90s, like that age. You're born in the 70s kind of area, maybe early 80s. You grew up with the hip, and like they're very. I guess it would be like people who are like from the generation before me with the Guess Who. The Guess Who is like the ultimate Canadian band to them, but to us, it's the hip.
Bobby loves the hip.
Does he?
Yeah, he's
awesome.
Before, if I've listened to it, and I was just like, well, I don't know. Now it's not
Highway Girl, the live version. That's the only version you should listen to for that song. Is awesome. New Orleans is Sinking is awesome. Blowing High Dough is awesome. Oh shit, there's just so many. Like, there's so many.
You're on a roll. Keep listing them.
I'll tell you when I seen them too. There was like I might have said this before. There was this concert for it was like some charity called War Child back in the 90s, and they came to an area in Winnipeg called the Forks. So it's like where the two rivers meet in Winnipeg, and it was like a trading post for the natives and the settlers back in the day. Now it's like all these like restaurants and like eccentric shops and
like touristy.
Like a very it's a very but it's a cool spot. And they put on a free concert there. There was
Love those.
80,000 people. 80,000 people, dude.
Wow.
It was the biggest concert I've ever been to. It was so crazy. It was awesome. It was awesome. Probably one of the
That sounds pretty cool. Like, and it's not like one of those just little street side band playing. So it's just
well, because it was free. Because it was free, it made like everybody came. Like there was, and it was at the Forks. It was in the summer. It was like a hot day. I remember. I was probably cheeched before I even got to that show. It was it was a heck of a time.
That made it even better for you, huh?
I thought of like I don't know if I should tell this story, but I was talking to the Flat Earth and Fiber on Skype before I started talking to you, and I guess we were talking about all sorts of things, and like from women to growing up and everything. And I don't know why, but this ridiculous story came into my mind. I don't know if I should share it, but it might be. But like when I was like 22, so like that's probably like around 98, 99, like around that time frame.
Yeah.
I was going to community college for like I was studying to be a computer tech, but for hardware, not software.
Yeah.
So like fixing it, soldering it, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And on all of us, there was a bunch of us who lived in this house that this guy owned. This guy, Mike, and we were all going to college, and we kind of all just moved in there, and we all rented a room. And it was weird because I started in the basement with this weird guy named Dave who like stayed there with me for a little bit because he was maybe people were looking for him, we'll just say. And then and then this guy Tom lived there as well at the time. Now Tom was a real weirdo. Like he had gross pornography on his computer. We went through his computer and he had like
why are you going through his computer?
Okay, so like he was being weird. He was like he wouldn't do any chores. He would like go to restaurants and beg for food, but he had money. He would like come down at like 3 a.m. and like read us a poem that he wrote about that he was a lone wolf and we didn't understand him, and that's why he didn't do the chores. Like he was this guy was a freak and we hated him. and the main floor, I was in the basement, then the main floor was 3 bedrooms. There was like Mike's room, this guy James, and this other guy Mike. He was a cool guy, and he was like really into the internet, and it just started. So we were just learning about the internet. Like
when it had that weird dial-up tone and everything.
Yeah, and then upstairs was like a big giant area. It was kind of divided into 2, but there was no doors. And this guy Steve lived up there with Tom. Me and Steve became like the best of buddies.
Right.
And he wanted to get rid of weirdo Tom. So that's why we went through his computer and he wasn't paying, whatever. So he gets kicked out and I moved to the top. And then anyways, the story I was going to tell you. Okay. This guy Mike takes me to we're going to the mall. He didn't take me to the mall. We just went to the mall together, shopping, doing whatever. And this chick, Bree, who was like, dude, she's like a 12. Wow. She's like Playboy material model, like the sexiest chick I've ever seen in my life. Just wow. And now we're talking to her and whatever. And then I think I did something else. And that because this guy Mike knows her, they're friends. And this guy Mike used to be he just got out of Stony Mountain. but he's like a weird nerd, but Stony Mountain's like a prison here. And he was from the province over. He was from the province over, and he was growing fields of marijuana. Like not a little bit, like fields of marijuana. And he got caught, busted, whatever. He got sent to Stony. He got out. He got that house. And then he goes to college, and that's how we meet him. And so I don't know how he knew this chick. I guess from the other province or whatever. But then so like he comes and tells me, he's like, so what do you think of her? I was like, oh yeah, she's gorgeous. He's like, she's really into you. I was like, fuck you. Like, don't play with me like that. And he's like, no, dude, like she's into you, man. Like she wants to. He's like, invite her to a party because we're gonna have a party at our place. We did a lot of partying there. So I was like, okay, dude. So I go and talk to her. Sure enough, she's fucking into it. She wants to come over. So I was like, just jacked, man. Like just freaking like.
You're like, this is happening.
And then, but I screw it up. So I smoke a bunch of weed, and then I bought this bottle of like fancy Jack Daniels. I can't remember what it was, like maybe like silver or so. I don't know, some like weird Jack Daniels.
Okay.
So I'm doing a shot with her. I'm doing a shot with my roommates. I'm doing I'm doing a shot with everybody at the party, basically. Like, oh, you want a shot? I'll do a shot with you. You want a shot? Do a shot. So I did way too many shots. So I say some stupid shit to her, like going to the magic room or something really lame, something like terribly lame. And she's like, she like fucking just like, you're a fucking loot. Like she just walks away. Like she's not having any of it. I blow my chance. I blew my chance with the hottest chick like I will ever come across in my days. And then weirdly enough too, I fell asleep on my stomach that night and I got really sick. I like threw up in my sleep and I have no memory of it at all. Like I was, and I almost like, if I would have been on my back, I would have died, dude, like straight up died. And like to this day, the smell of whiskey, I'll get sick. Like I can't even like smell it. I can't, it's so crazy. But yeah, I guess the story, it came to my mind because they were talking about women, and I was like, yeah, back in the day, I'm not proud of it, but I was a bit of a player. Like I really didn't have problems meeting women, and maybe I was a bit of a womanizer. Like I'm being honest. Like yeah, like that's pretty shitty of me when I think of it now. Like how I never cared for their feelings. I didn't give a shit about them. I was just like interested really in one thing. And
that's not shitty. It's just youth. I mean,
yeah, but I feel bad now. Like someone did that with my daughter, I'd be fucking. I would be so angry. You know,
like maybe that's the story you should tell your kids so that
they're
a little more keen on. Okay, although like that would be funny, your kids looking at you like you were a player.
Yeah, they would never see that. Like they don't see me like, or even like drinking or doing anything crazy like that. They don't. They see me as a nerd. Like
I know, right?
I play like games with them, and I'm just like a big weirdo to them. They would never. They couldn't even imagine me doing that shit. But yeah, like I don't know why I was telling that story, but yeah, it just came to my mind, and I thought I'd just make fun of myself.
The way you tell it. It's so Canadian.
Is it?
It is. It's just the way you tell it. I can just tell. You like throw extra things in there that like I was like. It reminds me of that recording I sent you where that guy's like getting divorced. Yeah, threw 2-pound meat at her head. The uncle's voicemail. My crazy Canadian uncle's voicemail.
Oh shit! It's
what does that mean?
So embarrassing because, like, I guess it's true. Like, we do talk like that, but we don't really notice it ourselves until someone points it out to us, and then we're like, "Oh, terrible, terrible."
Well, that woman's probably somewhere telling a story about there was this crazy guy.
Yeah, like I'm this horrible story to her.
Yeah. Oh, so he called himself the Magic Man. He had a magic room. I think he was a serial killer.
Oh fuck, dude.
Oh man.
Oh, that's terrible. That sucks so
Ironically,
bad.
she's probably like toothless and 300 pounds and like, but I don't know. You never
The
know.
way she looked, I highly doubt it. But if she is, well,
What a loss. What a loss, right?
oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
know I've seen people and I like, I see their pictures and they're just that weird, like crazy look and they look and I kind of think like, they have kids. So once upon a time, somebody looked at that and was like, I need
Yeah.
to get myself some of that woman. I mean, come on, right?
Oh, fuck. Did you ever see that picture of that girl? Like, it's like a meth poster, and it's like shows her at the beginning, and she's like beautiful, and then they just show her like her mugshot over the years,
And she's
and she
got
goes,
like cuts all over. I've seen a lot of meth posters.
yeah, and like by the end, she's like toothless and all full of sores, and you'd never
Yeah.
think she was this beautiful 10 that,
There,
like, yeah,
there's a lot of pictures
fucking
out
mess.
there. It's so sad too because they'll be tatted up on their faces, and then one eye's drooping and the other eye, and they're toothless, and it just like damn, just
Godzilla says, I'm
by saying
reading.
sorry all the time, it also allows us to also shit talks others prior.
What
Sorry.
Canadians do best. And then, yeah, that's hilarious. Hey, what does that mean? So Canadian. He wants to know what you mean by that. When I think of it, I think of like Letterkenny or something. We talk like that, even though we don't
Yeah.
realize it. And then Surreal says, or Fiber, I don't know. He could use a muse, a really nice Latin one. Fuck yeah. I've never done meth either. I've never, like, I guess coming up, I'm just saying that because Godzilla says that. Like, there was a lot of drugs when I was coming up, acid, mushrooms, coke.
Yeah.
Like, once in a while, you'd hear someone did heroin and you'd be like, holy fuck, that guy's a psycho.
Yeah.
But I never, like, it never came.
Dangerous. Go get the cocaine.
Yeah. And then alcohol, obviously, and weed, like that kind of shit. But meth, it must have been around because it's been around since the 70s, but it was not like prevalent in the party scene as I was coming up.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have tried. I don't know. I might have tried it. Like, I tried almost everything. So maybe I'm
I got
even
the
ecstasy
impression
wasn't
growing
like,
up that meth was like the drug for kind of destitute people that were just kind of desperate for something. But
well, it was called crank when I was growing up, but it was like, you only really heard of it with like bikers or like people
Yeah.
like that. It wasn't like it wasn't a party drug or even like something really readily available. It just wasn't around.
Exactly. It wasn't like the kids scene, but it was like, I don't know, like in Seattle where I grew up, like there was a place called the Jungle. It was where all the homeless people kind of hung out. I think it's gone now, but that's where all the meth users were. And then the kids in the high-end high school, they were doing other stuff. So I guess I just automatically associated that meth was, for the
Dirty,
really
yeah.
degenerate people or something like that. So
Fiber says when he grew up on the farm, it was cigarettes. But I think about that, and like, I grew up in the city and country. Like, I had both experiences. And
yeah,
I found like the country kids, we'd go to the pits and we'd fucking like get shit faced. That's what you did. You
yeah.
like drank and you smoked weed and probably
Right.
did some mushrooms. So I don't know where he was, but the kids in the country were just as bad as the city kids. And there was probably just as much fighting. It just was like different groups.
I think country kids just had a different kind of fun. It just same trouble, different fun. I mean, yeah, in the city, I noticed like, we had places to go where you're not supposed to go, and obviously in the country, when I went to visit my dad's side of the family, there were places you could go where you're not supposed to go, and it was usually trespassing on somebody's property to go cow tipping. It's just a different kind of mischief,
Yeah.
And same fights. I mean, it just
Same like people clicking up. Like it was all clicks when I was growing up. I don't know if it's like that anymore. I bet you it is.
I think so.
Yeah.
My
How
son
could it
didn't want
not
any
be?
part of that. He was just like, yeah, he
Yeah,
was on a
Godzilla
track
says
team.
different counties were your mortal enemy, like 20 kilometers away. Yeah, for sure. Like
That's true.
the town's like 20 minutes away, and you're like, fuck those guys, they're fucking
Yeah,
assholes.
the
Yeah.
school district. Did I
Hey,
ever tell you, like, when I was it was my junior year of high school, I was in one school and my mom moved. So, of course, where do I have to switch schools to? The rival school.
oh no.
It's where I learned to fight, baby. I figured out how to throw down real fast. But I mean, that's the way kids are. Yeah, the rival school thing, totally. That
Dude,
was
when my parents divorced, I was 7, I think. And I ended up going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like
Are you
12
counting
different
schools?
12 different schools from that age to when I dropped out when I was like 15 and a half, and then I ended up just living on my own. I actually like 13 because I tried this, like, I don't know, it was like a weird school where you could just come whenever you wanted and like kind of just do your work at your own pace. I can't remember what kind of school it was called, but
Sounds like alternative school.
yeah, like
Right?
alternative. Yeah, it was alternative learning, and
Yeah.
that I didn't like that either. And then I was just done. I didn't even like go back till I was in. This is embarrassing, but I'll admit it. And like I don't even know how that's possible because like I did that community school, but I didn't have a high school education at the time.
Yeah.
So like that's weird when I think about it. But then I actually got a high school education after that. Like I did a building trades course and then got my not a GED, but like a mature student diploma at the same time. Like I felt
What?
like such a
So
loser,
you
but
didn't get a GED, but you got a what?
mature school, like a mature diploma. It's called a mature student diploma. So it's like you went back and like did the work. You didn't like do a GED.
Okay.
But I was like
I never
already,
heard of that. Wow.
yeah. And then I graduated, finished that, took that building course because I thought I would be an electrician. I
Yeah.
went into that, but then I didn't like it, and I got out of that. And then I ended up going to like I did all kinds of stupid stuff. Like I drove forklifts, I worked in restaurants,
Yep.
I did like everything. And then I became a security, like not a security guard, but like an undercover, like I would catch shoplifters, a floor walker,
Oh,
I guess what you'd
loss
call it.
prevention. We call it
Yeah.
loss prevention.
And we do all kinds of shit. We'd do floor walking, but we'd also, this is true. You had a private detective license, and we would
What?
like, yeah, I was like, honestly, I was considered a private detective. And then, another thing we would do is like, there's something called organized retail crime here. I don't know if you have it. It's like they'll steal big ticket items, razors, cheese, meat, like that kind of stuff. And then they resell it to these like mom and pop stores.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that.
And
I've
we would
not
like
seen
take
it, but
pictures. We'd follow them and take pictures of them doing that shit. It was crazy, man. Yeah,
wow.
like so like I did that, but then I got really injured in an apprehension that went really bad. And then I just lost I couldn't do it. I was like, I guess I was scared. Every time I was going to go and do an apprehension, I'd
You
just get scared. And
traumatized.
yeah, I didn't want to do it. And then I ended up finding pest control of all things. And like I did that for 12 years.
Wow.
And like got good at it. And like I was really good at it. And then I had to go back to college for that, because like not a college, but it's like you take these courses and then you have to go to the university and you have to write and it's an exam. It's like an agriculture exam, because a lot of like farmers, let's say, who like spray their fields with pesticides,
Gordon,
they have to have this
trade school. Is it trade school?
No, it wasn't a trade school. Like the training happens in-house in the company that you're in. And then you have to go and like study these books. There's 2 books. So you have to get your core, it's called.
Yeah.
And then once you get your core, you can write another exam for any kind of other spray you would do. So like for farmers, they're doing like a different type of spray. They're doing like agricultural. So the curriculum is different. What we were getting was, and you could get that one too, because sometimes you'd have to spray outside and you'd have to like, you have to know like droplet size. You have to know like wind velocity. You have to know drift.
Wow.
All that kind of stuff. And then, but the one that we would most commonly get would be the structural.
Yes.
And that's so that you could like calculate how much poison you would need, like the volume of a building and how much poison you would need, how to mix poisons, how to handle them. Because it's like you're dealing with the most deadly shit that's around, man. Yeah, so you have to have a license for that. And then like every 5 years, you have to rewrite the exam to prove that you knew what you were doing.
That sounds a lot like in the military. We had to go through hazmat training every once in a while. You had to stay up to date on it.
Yeah.
And if you're moving or working with chemicals in certain areas, you were not allowed to be in there if you did not pass the training.
That's right.
And certain people were not allowed to deploy until they passed the training. I mean, all kinds of things. But I know that like I remember when we bought this house, and remember I asked you about the pest inspector said that there were these beetle holes or something in some of the structure, and you advised, that could be common with the lumber when they buy the house and all this
powder post beetles. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I told the real estate agent that, he was just like, oh yeah, I've heard that before, but wow, that's really handy that you know somebody that knows that. And it's like he kind of knew, but he didn't want to tell me he knew. Yeah. And it's like, what were you guys going to make me pay hundreds of dollars to, you know what I mean? Like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and waive that and just move forward with the purchase. So, yeah.
Gord says, I was telling Clutch about the Glenna. Says he feels bad for me. That could not have been fun. I'm not sure what he means. And then he said, screw those guys. Canadian version. Electricians make good money. Yeah, they do.
That's true.
But I don't know. Like, I kind of just didn't like the work, and getting zapped really sucked. And when I started getting into 3-phase math, I fucking hated it. Like, I hated 3-phase math.
What's 3-phase math?
Like, because there's different phases for electricity, right? So some equipment will have 3 phases of. It's hard to explain. Like, I don't even really still understand it. It's fucking
like math. So
yeah,
I only need 1 phase to know I don't like it.
And then that was the other thing that like screwed me in when I was doing that computer stuff was Boolean algebra. Like, look it up. There's 12 laws and like 3 rules for every problem. Like one equation will take a page and a half of writing. It's like
well, maybe that's for like
digital. It's for digital highs and lows. It's it's like binary. It's really it's so tough, dude. I
And
hate
that's
math.
probably why you get paid the big bucks. If you're going to be able to do that and do it all the time, nobody
I
wants
guess.
to. Nobody
But
wants to.
I found, yeah, well, killing small animals and insects I made a lot of money doing that. It was easier. So,
Finding dead bodies once in a while.
oh, dude, I told you about that, eh? That was the
Yeah,
worst
we talked about
fucking, I'm still traumatized by that. Like one guy we found, he must have had a heart attack, rolled off his bed, and his head touched the do you know what a baseboard heater is?
Yes.
So
Oh.
his head was laying on that and it was like melting into it, but the other half of his body was like swollen and purple like a fucking balloon.
Oh.
Oh, it was, and it smelled like cheese in there.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Fuck, it was so horrific. I'm still like traumatized to this day. I sometimes see that in my mind. It was like one of the worst.
So now you can't make grilled cheese sandwiches for your kids. You're like, I'm
Oh,
sorry, kids, I can't.
I couldn't eat pizza for like 2 months after that. I just
Oh,
could not eat it. It was so fucking, it was so nasty.
I told you about the first time I experienced skin slip, right?
Oh,
that first week that I worked at this funeral home, they make you go out with the pickup crew just so you understand what they go through, because you know it's all about empathy. And one body, she said something like, if you grab him by the shoulders, I'll grab him by the knees and we'll lift him onto the body bag and then we'll zip it up and it'll be easier to carry him, right?
Mhm.
And I had gloves on, but you know, with the latex gloves, you could still feel through it. You know what I mean?
Ooh, uh-huh.
And when I grabbed the right shoulder, the top layer of his skin, it's called skin slip. The layers of your skin fill up with fluid in between and start to peel off after a while.
Ooh.
But yeah, I grabbed the skin and it just came off in one sheet in my hand, and it just it was trauma. You're trying to be respectful, but at the same time you're like, like I can't. And then right after that, she's like, "Do you want to go grab something for lunch?" I'm like, "Bitch, no."
No.
Bad experience, but yeah.
Gord was saying you need a license to do everything in Canada. He's so right. You need a license to fish, to hunt, to drive, to get married, to own a gun. You name it. You need a license. The only thing you don't need a license for is to bang and have kids, which is so weird. Anyone could have a kid, even meth heads.
I've seen movies where they talked about in the future you do need a license for that.
I'm kind of like that's a terrible idea, but at the same time I'm like, some people maybe should have to take a course before they do that.
Right? That's so true. But then again, it's like, be careful what you wish for, right? I mean,
He was referring to my upbringing. Yeah, my upbringing really did suck.
Moving all the time.
Being the new kid is the worst fucking. You get in a lot of fights. The friends you usually do make are the troubled kids,
or you don't keep them. You don't
have the history of growing up. Like lots of these kids, they grow up since like kindergarten and they go to the same grade together.
Yeah.
It sucked.
I was a military brat, so I remember all that too.
It's the worst. It's shitty.
Oh, well,
electricity is generally
pals with that person. It's like 3 letters
hard
later.
to understand, mainly because no one does. Yeah. For instance, did you know the power that comes to your socket in your home doesn't travel in the copper, but rather around it? Yeah. The stuff is weird right up there with yes, and yes. Yeah. I hated doing that shit. It was just not for me. Not my gig.
That reminds me of you ever seen the movie Down Periscope with Kelsey Grammer?
No.
Rob Schneider's in it. It's about the Navy, and it's kind of a spoof movie. Rip Torn is in it. William H. Macy. They
Yeah.
play. He plays a captain that basically he gets command of this shitty submarine, and the crew he gets are all completely like wackos, but they come in handy. And their electrician is a really good electrician, but he'd be sitting there working on some wires on the deck, and he's singing, and all of a sudden he gets zapped. He's like, zzz, and then it's like the channel changed in his brain, and he starts quoting a baseball game. He's like, "Only on foul down the right field lane." And they're watching him, and the Kelsey Grammer goes, "That boy's absorbed a lot of voltage." It was such a funny movie.
When you get your first poke, they call it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the worst.
Really? No.
Yeah, and like some dudes die, man. They get thrown across the room, and
I heard
they're all burnt, and and they are weird like that.
It'll
after,
singe
like
your
they're never
skin, blister it, and all this stuff.
Dude, it's terrible. It's dangerous as shit.
No.
And it's unpredictable. At least with the chemicals, like I was pretty like I knew what
it is. You could see
it.
Yeah.
And I knew like I could mix this and this is gonna happen, and I don't know, it just seemed more in my control, even though that's probably what caused my cancer. So
ironically, you were talking about you might have wasps in your house. I mean, isn't that a pest that you dealt with?
Oh yeah, like I know how to kill them. That's not a problem. I'm not scared of
find them first, right?
Yeah, I just got to know how they're getting in, and like if it's in the attic, that really sucks because it's hot in there. It's hard to see. You don't know where to step, and then if something goes wrong and they start stinging you, and then it's like a hanging nest.
And piss them off.
Yeah, like that's a hanging nest. But like I've gone into like huge nests that were just swarming all around, and if you just move like really, I wouldn't even wear gear to like protective gear. You just walk up to it, spray it with what you were going to spray, and then you just walk off. They die right away, and you're good. It's better if it's inside something. Like if it's in a crevice, it's easier to kill because then you can dust it or like
cornering it.
Yeah, or put a foam on it. But you have to know the right time too. Like if you go dawn and dusk are the best times to kill wasps because they're the least active, and 90% of them are all inside the nest. If you do it in the daytime, they're active, so they're going to sting you, and they're not all in the nest. They're all out working. So you want to be able to get them all at once, right?
I am going to need to take some notes on that. No, but Bobby really, I mean, I think he'd probably be interested in knowing that because, I mean, he goes out there and checks the shed all the time. I mean, they just try to. We also have a lot of bumblebees, but we've left them alone because, I mean.
Bees are good, yeah. They won't even be aggressive to you, dude, unless you like a wasp will sting you multiple times, and it doesn't give a fuck because it doesn't die when it stings you.
It
can just keep stinging you. But a bee is going to die when it stings you, so they're not as aggressive, and they're not like more apt
They're not going to try to sting. It's strange though because I see these bumblebees hovering outside the glass door, and it almost looks like where the wasps are. They look like they were trying to kind of like aggravate the wasps out under the area. So I asked Bobby, like, do you suppose they will like run the wasp out? And what was really weird is like it sits there at the glass, and I went to the glass door to look out, and when I started to open the door, that bumblebee literally like went and looked at me, and then looked back. I was like, never mind. I just shut the door. I was like, dude just turned and looked at me and then turned back like deliberately. So it was strange. I didn't want to mess with that.
The other thing, like with bees, there's such a without bees, we will die. Literally. Yeah. They pollinate almost all our crops. And like all that bee sickness from all the pesticides, and there's like lots of bees that are dying. That's not good for us. So yeah, don't mess with the bees. Just let them
No,
let
I don't
them do
mind them
their
one
thing.
bit. There's a
But
lot of
wasps are
people.
little dicks, and you could kill all of them. Don't even care about it.
The people around here, there's a lot of people that raise bees, like a lot of them, and
Mhm.
it's important to them. But then again, we also get a lot of free honey, so we love it though. Local honey.
Mhm. I
Um,
told you I was gonna start being it up, eh?
what's that?
I told you I bought all that bee equipment when I
Oh
first
yeah,
moved
are
here.
you going to do that or not?
Yeah, we're doing it. We just now like it's you got to start in the spring.
Oh, kind
You
of
can't just
late.
start. Yeah, and this year things kind of went off. Well, you know.
Yeah,
So
it was next year is going to be better. I think that's when we're going to get the chickens to. Oh, Bobby and I were talking about going over to Tractor Supply today. Sorry, I'm going to change the subject, but we're going to go to Tractor Supply today and get some little wood pellets because that's what we use for cat litter, and we were going to get some potting soil, and we ended up going to Lowe's because I saw on the phone that Tractor Supply this week is the beginning of Chick Week. And I knew if I went to their store and I saw little baby chicks, we'd have chickens. And we're just not ready yet. We don't have the coop ready yet or nothing ready yet. So I didn't get any chickens, but I'm really like excited too.
that's what we're gonna do as well. We're gonna do the chickens and bees this spring coming up, and yeah, we're gonna do
Research a breed that's kind of docile though, because you got kids. You don't
for
want,
for
yeah,
chickens.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna do some layers, and then we're gonna do some meat birds as well, and then
Good on you. I couldn't do that because I named them
oh yeah,
all.
no, we're gonna eat them.
Get for the egg layers, I suggest Rhode Island, no, Plymouth Rock. They would call them Barred Rock chickens. The black and white one, like my Eddie. You remember the videos of my Eddie, the black and
Well,
white chicken? I would always hold
it
it.
it depends. They have to be able to survive winter.
They are a robust chicken that have thick
Okay,
feathers. But no
good.
matter what, I mean, if one of your chickens starts molting in the middle of winter, you're going to have to put it in a cardboard box and bring it inside for a couple days. I mean,
No,
it,
I'll use a heat lamp.
you can, yeah.
Yeah, then I'm not bringing a
Just
chicken in my house. Fuck that.
why? They're
No,
so sweet, and the kids can pet them.
my
And
dog would probably kill them.
oh, that's a good point. Yeah, we don't want that. Um. Okay, so I gotta make dinner soon, dude. But before we go,
Oh yeah, it's been over an hour.
I know it went by so fast. Super Soda Jerk said he recently got bit by an ant the size of a chihuahua. Holy shit. Gordzilla's like, that's not an ant. That's a giant.
Nah, I
There's that
kind of.
Canadianness.
Nah.
Flat Earth Sage caught a bumblebee when he was like 6 years old with his bare hands. The sting hurt did a lot more than he thought it would. Ooh.
Stingers are bigger too for a bumblebee than a wasp.
I've never been stung by a bumblebee. Knock on
Did I
wood.
tell you we went to the fair yesterday? Like the reserve here
No.
is having something called Treaty Days. So like they do a bunch of powwows and I don't know, a bunch of Indian shit, whatever that is.
Oh,
And then
res.
yeah, the res. And they also have like a fair there. Like in the summer in Manitoba,
Uh-huh.
there's fairs every weekend all over the place. So like each community is celebrating this or doing that, or it's Canada Day or Boardwalk Day or whatever. And it's the same fair really. It's called Wonder Shows. And they just kind of like travel around all these communities. So, but this at the fair yesterday, for this one day, the reserve makes it free for everybody. So you can just go there and just ride all the rides for free and do whatever free. It was
That's
pretty
cool.
awesome. Yeah.
The kids
Nice of them.
enjoyed it.
Oh, heck yeah. They loved it. They got to go on every ride multiple times as much as they wanted.
I love the fairs for the food, really.
Mm.
Everything else, like the games, I always lose all my money on the games.
There's always a lot of like shops too, like these weird, like there's one that makes armor, one that makes leather, one that sells this weird gadget, one that's selling clothes. There's always these
Yeah,
cool
I was
little,
gonna say
like,
ours.
markets.
They sell clothes and hats and toys, but
Yeah.
all up in Canada, be making like armor and leather. It's like, no wonder
It's
you
weird.
guys
Like they
survive.
sell like all kinds of little shops, and a lot of people make their money. That's their hustle for the summer. They just travel
Yeah,
to all these fairs, like all these little communities, and they just set up shop and do their thing.
those are always fun. I love the arts and crafts. You go and buy earrings that are made of macaroni for $20. It's like whatever.
Usually better quality than that, but
I
yeah,
know.
you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's nice.
Awesome.
It's a fun memory too. So it's always good. I've yet
Awesome.
to visit any fairs around here, but I will. I'll take pictures.
Yeah, man, you should. I took a few pictures. I'll show you. They're
Okay.
not that good, but in a couple of weeks we're going to a bigger fair, and that'll be fun.
Well, now that we have our community board that we can share pictures on, just saying.
Yeah.
We,
Well, I don't know if I want to.
pictures you want to post, like to share with everybody else. Just remember,
Maybe.
it's public YouTube, so
Yeah, like I don't know.
I'll
That's
share some pictures of the garden, how my garden's coming along. I do want to
I
share
might-
that.
I might share something like that, but I'm not
Yeah.
going to share anything.
Anything personal.
Like nothing too personal, and like no pictures of my kids or my wife or.
No. Well, I
That's
think
cool.
everybody in the chat will understand that. It's just make sure, like any of the psychos outside.
Someone
of
was
our
mentioning.
little group-
Someone was mentioning too. They were saying like we should put up super chats, but then you looked into it, and we need what,
Yeah.
like 200,000 hours of.
No, we need 2,990 something more hours of watch hours, and we need like. So you basically, I think it's 3 million views. So it's 2,990 something 100,000 views, and then we need about 400 something hours of watch time before we're able to do super chats.
So
I mean, we're
maybe
still little peanuts right now.
so like maybe in the year 2072,
Yeah,
we'll put up a super chat for you guys.
we'll be like all gray.
Dead.
Our kids will be 40.
We'll be robots.
We started when we were your age. Oh shit.
Yeah. So whatever. Who
It's
cares?
not as many as you think. It'll happen.
I noticed that our last video, for some reason, got 70 views. Now, I know a lot of people would laugh at that, and I mean, 70 views is fuck all, but for us, that's a pretty high ranked show. So that was
Well,
cool.
it's not like we're trying to sell something or push an idea. That's what really gets me is everybody that's watching is watching just for the hell of it. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
we're
just hanging
We
out.
just shoot the shit, and yeah, like really, that's our whole shtick. Is we're just
Shooting the shit.
yeah.
Actually, we
what
should rename the channel Shoot the Shit. No, I'm kidding.
Like, you know what? Speakeasy is kind of good because when you search it up, all kinds of different shit pops up with it. So
Yeah.
maybe that's good. Like we'll pop up if someone's
Pop up with all that other shit.
yeah, but shooting the shit might be like that's too on the nose, maybe.
This is what we need. We need somebody who's an artist out there to create another logo for us with shooting the shit as the theme. I don't know where I'm.
I don't know.
I'm stupid.
Cold Springs views are Cold Springs views. They do not reflect me or YouTube.
I want a gun that just shoots turds out of it. I don't
On
know,
that-
man.
Oh,
that note-
I have a joke for you.
oh shit! Let's go.
Let me think how it's said again. Just give me a second. If you don't pay your exorcist, do you get repossessed?
It's a one-liner. I like it. You should have saved that for Halloween, dude.
I probably would have forgot it.
I don't know. I mean, who was it that just pulled that joke out of their ass with the whole was it Gourdzilla?
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
Yeah.
That's a Canadian thing, though, I think.
I
Most
think
Canadians
you guys are just because
we're naturally like good humored and funny.
yeah. Who's that
I'm not
actor
that's not very humble of me to say, but it's kind of a Canadian thing. It really is. We're just how we are.
I think it's part of your culture. You guys just have a very matter-of-fact way of talking, and to everybody else, it's like it's humorous. So
That culture that doesn't exist, you mean?
it does.
It pisses me off so much where they say that we don't have a culture. Like, fuck you guys. We do have a culture. No, like, I mean, I'm talking about politicians who are trying to, like, bring in all these immigrants, and they'll be like, oh, there's no culture here. It's multicultural. I'm like, no, it's not, buddy. Like, yeah, we're accepting of everyone. You can do your thing. But there is definitely a culture here and a way of life and a tradition that
Absolutely.
yeah, fuck yeah, we're people, and it's
Godzilla said some of America's most famous comedians are Canadian. Isn't Jim Carrey?
Tons of them. Yeah, Jim Carrey. Like, I would probably venture a guess and say like 70% of your best dudes are probably from Canada.
That one guy from Saturday Night Live? Oh my god, he's so funny.
Dan Aykroyd?
Huh?
Dan Aykroyd?
Well, him too, but I'm thinking of the younger guy. He has a really nasal voice. Never mind. I'll look it up and I'll post a picture of him on our community board.
All right. Sounds good. Hey, well, I guess then that's it.
All right, guys. Well, we'll try to do this again next week. I have 3 days off next week, so take your pick.
John Candy, Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald, that's the guy.
Oh, I should have known, but he's like one of the greatest. He's like the greatest troll of all time. Like the way he fucking he like drew shit out for like ever and just he was.
But see, in my mind, the Canadian humor, he really embodies that because it's a very, and I mean this with all the love in my heart, that y'all are smart ass. Like you have that little like subtle undertone with the humor, like, and you will say things and touch on sensitive areas just in a way that's funny, but people are like, wait a minute, did he just dog me? Like, they don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. That is, it's cool. He says, this is, I want to say one of his jokes that I love. He says, this morning I woke up and I looked in the mirror and I was, I just seen a fat, ugly old man looking back at me. And I went to my wife and I said, he says, I said to her, I'm feeling terrible about myself. All I see is a fat, ugly old man in the mirror. I need some good positive reinforcement. And she says, well, your eyesight is 100%. That dirty dog, he calls her.
Oh man, that was a good one. Good way to close this.
He's a deeply closeted man.
Yeah. I'm glad we have him.
Well, he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're good. Godzilla says we're good at that. All right, guys.
Okay.
I'm gonna shut it down.
Take care. Yep. Have a good one.
Yeah, next week, same time, same place, maybe.